Hello, everyone. It's Nikki Batgirl D'Angelo here with Ben Lesnick. Hi, Ben. How are you today?
Hey, I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
No, you're not. You're not feeling well, are you?
No, I've had the flu for 3 days, and just doing this is because I couldn't wait to talk to you after spending the first real money since the Polaris on the game. You know, I've been telling people for a long time that you don't have to spend money on the game unless you want to help the game go on. It is a pledge. It's not a purchase, right? And I've been trying to hold true to that, but when I saw the Eclipse, I just knew that it was something that had to be in the same hangar that the Polaris is going to be in, you know? It just made sense.
It's a handsome ship.
It's a handsome ship. So a lot has gone on since we last talked. I know that I had, well, you can't read this and maybe you shouldn't. I was at a meeting and then I had finals and then I got sick. Well, no, that's not what kept me away from last week. I think last week was just lots of work. So we haven't been on since the Defender sale. How did that sale go?
Oh, went great. Really happy with everything. You know, you think of these sales, they're such a big deal getting ready for them, launching them, and then, you know, it's the same way with everybody else. You know, now we just want to fly the thing.
Yeah, and it looks like the pipeline is pretty much full with 3.0 going into production in the near future.
It's pretty busy.
It looks like this won't be out for at least a year because we have all those wonderful ships coming out in the meantime.
Well, you never know. They have a lot smoother process now for going from concept to finish. So I think we're going to see some of the more recent concept ships a lot sooner than folks expect.
Oh, that would be awesome. Which design team worked on this? I'm sure we already know this by now, but I'm interested.
This was the UK. Nathan and all those guys. They did just a super good job.
Oh, so this one's going to be out real fast, like everything else they do.
Yes.
I remember seeing the Gladius 1 month and it being out like a couple of months later. So,
yeah, they know their stuff.
Yeah, this one was a shock. I know that I kind of knew about the name for a while and kind of knew. I mean, it's not crazy. People could surmise what it was going to be. I really thought it was going to be a replacement for the Retaliator, but instead, you guys went for something that's more along the lines of today's modern, a modernized version of today's F-117.
Yeah, I see why you're struggling there, because we're in this weird future where the futuristic stealth fighter bomber has already been retired, but
yeah.
Yes, Super F-117E, Super B-2E. I mean, I had this vision in my head at the very start where we pitched this. I remember 1988 being 7 years old, and they unveiled the B-2 for the first time, and the Washington Post front page with they had this government photo of this giant flying wing like laid out for the first time, and I want to do that. I want to give the Star Citizen community that same experience. So we went from there.
That was good. And also the way that you revealed it was along the lines of the way the 117 got revealed with the Area 51 type photos through the broken fence. Oh, that was awesome.
Even got in tried to imply in, I think, the newsletter last week that it might be a fighter the same way. They say F-117 even though it's not a fighter. There was bits and pieces all over the place.
Oh, God. Yeah. Well, it looks like it does have two pylons for S2 weapons. Will those pylons, when you put weapons on them, increase your radar signature or noise signature?
It'll depend on the piece. One thing we're introducing with this ship is the idea of stealth components, and you can see in the stats it lists a bunch specifically, so there will be certain weapons that are stealthier than others.
You know, and it's kind of weird that we've already seen today's aeronautic companies go through a lot of the things that you're going through in design. Do you think that somebody there just didn't think about putting the weapon slots internal like the F-22 and F-35 have to keep them stealth? Or do you want to have the guns be seen because they're really good looking?
I think we like to have components be seen. You came from that Wing Commander background where you had one static bitmap no matter what your ship configuration was, so we look for opportunities to show them off. But.
Yeah. I know. As soon as you started saying that, I started thinking about the broadsword with all the weapons on it.
Yeah, 3 big guns in the nose. Yeah.
Yep. A couple of others too.
But it should also always be a choice. We want you to configure this to be as stealthy as you want.
Well,
So there should be trade-offs.
So, will there be opportunities to, at some point, change out the modules for the torpedoes to, like, maybe run some illegal things across the line?
Can't comment on that one.
You can't comment? You don't like talking about illegal stuff in the game, do you?
No, I just don't like promising.
Oh, of course not. Or telling us never, right?
Yes, I never say never.
You never know. People might say, hey, that's a good idea. We could use this for stealth deliveries of medical supplies to Stanton through the blockade that the Vandal have set up.
You had those manned torpedoes in Wing Commander 4. Who knows what's next?
Yeah, well, I like that you're doing stealth and not cloak, because cloak was kind of weird. You got somebody in the room with you there?
Oh, no, I was seeing if I had a drink. Could I do? Delicious LaCroix brand water.
Yeah, you're
drinking
drinking
fancy water, Ben drinks.
I'm trying to get my vitamin C. So, I was wondering, because it seems like we have a full suite of ships coming at us really fast. I mean, we should have the 600 in just a few weeks, right?
I don't know about a few weeks, but it is coming up.
It's coming up. Okay. And a bunch of flyable ships that should be out in the next 6 weeks if we could hit that mark for 3.0.
Yes. There's the 3.0 should bring a whole bunch of stuff to flyable.
I'm just dying to have my my dragonfly so I could start running around on the moon, or riding around on the moon.
There's a lot to explore.
Yeah, I'm sure. So, speaking of lots to explore, we know that we already have a couple of wheeled vehicles in the game. Do you foresee in the next year more of them coming up for concept sale? You can't talk about it.
Can't talk about that, but yeah, there will be more vehicles. I can't say when or what or how or why or any of that, but yes, you're going to need more vehicles to do stuff on these planets.
We're going to need more. You're going to need a bigger boat for that. Okay.
Or many different smaller boats.
Many different smaller boats. Okay.
Not as dramatic.
All right. So, with all the big ships that are coming out in the near future or over the next year, will there be plans to add like space tugboats or tow trucks to the available ships? Dedicated ships with lots of powerful, but not speed, with strong... This is from Soloth Carr. He's one of my most active people on the Bensday thread inside of our Discord for starcitizenaa. Are you going to have support vessels like that?
I can't give any specifics, but yes, there's some stuff in the works that fits that description.
Yeah, you said that the next bunch of ships are going to be more career-based.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of kind of interesting career-based things spec'd out for later in the year, for next year. But I can't give any details.
I know you can't give any details. We're not looking for that. Do you foresee the need of a ship that's more or less an ammunition ship to to be able to rearm at when you're on long duration missions?
Yeah, absolutely. Like like a tender or the Redeemer ship from Wing Commander Prophecy. Was that the Redeemer? Do we use the same name as that?
Yeah, about. How could you not use the same names? Everything had a cutlass. That was one I forgot entirely about. They had the little missile reload ship in Wing Prophecy. Yeah.
But yeah, that sort of thing, for sure.
Okay.
I mean, ideally, we would eventually be able to, do fleet support transports and, the more boring stuff that fills out the universe.
Well, that's pretty awesome.
Tenders and such.
All right, let's see if I can get this up on my iPad. I don't want to keep looking over in the other section over there. I think I have Discord on my iPad. I don't know why I would. And I do. How about that? I don't know why I would because it's not my iPad. Alright, so Cosmic Trader wants to know. Oh, wow. People gave all sorts of things on here. All right. Will we see a manufacturing ship like mobile factories, FPS weapons, clothes, ships, equipment, furniture? Is that kind of like what the Endeavor could do with different modules?
I mean, the Endeavor is definitely science focused rather than manufacturing. Manufacturing would be further down the road, and it would be a lot more design would be required. You know, it would be a big effort from multiple teams. I wouldn't say no, but it's. I don't think we'll ever have a time where it's just like a ship that magically makes things, but I suspect we will see more and more ships that are part of the economy node tapestry.
Okay. With some of the space, some of the landing zones being quite large, I suspect places like Terra would have large landing zones. This is from Cosmic Trader. Will there be subways in the verse? We have not heard anything about this in a long time. They're just wondering, what kind of mass transit is going to be available on the planets?
So, mass transit. No. I actually don't know. I don't know what the current thought is for the mass transit in Terra. I know they did do very, 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 very early on. There was like a gray box prototype of subway train for Terra, but that was quite a while ago. I'm not sure if it ended up.
Is it a subway train or an elevated monorail? I remember seeing that on one of the images.
Yeah, it was like a monorail or a subway or something.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they'll do something along those lines because I would hate to have this game be so vast and then us land in a landing zone that feels. Yeah. Well, but also to land in a landing zone, it feels like you're in a box. You know?
Yeah. No, we want more than that.
Okay. Oh, did you hear that they're making a new Farscape movie? I bet you never watched Farscape.
I have watched some. It's one of those ones where I really want to have watched Farscape, and I keep starting it and not getting any further. I've got the Blu-ray set at home.
Is it just not interesting, or you just don't have the time these days?
It's interesting. I suspect it's one of those shows you probably have to get like 10 episodes in before you're hooked, and time is an issue.
Oh yeah, it takes a while before you're hooked. I think it was about 10 episodes. So before that, you're like, what the hell is going on? Which was the whole thing. It was Jim Henson Studios, so that's pretty cool. This is from China Shop Rodeo. If my spaceship is parked in the southern hemisphere of a planet or moon, and I flush my space toilet, will the water swirl the counter to if I was on the northern hemisphere?
That is a fantastic question, but I suspect it's sort of a. I suspect it's a bit of a Heisenberg question because by asking that question, once Chris hears about it, he will absolutely want to make that happen.
I think in the future, the only thing you have to worry about in the bathroom is what the 3 seashells are for.
Okay. Oh, wait, you don't know what the seashells are for?
I didn't say that. I said the only thing you have to worry about is what they're for. I have no idea what they're for. No one ever told me. All right, so I could ask a bunch of these, but I mean, I'm really interested in. Well, let's give one more because this person is asking like a million, and in 3.0, this is Cosmic Trader again. How is it planned that we can have a dragonfly in our ship, Freelancer, Connie, etc., in the verse? As at present, we could only spawn one ship. Will we be able to put the dragonfly on the ship in the hangar? Isn't that something that was just said in one of the guys was talking about that in one of the latest updates about how they're going to spawn things?
Yeah, that sounds. It's outside of my wheelhouse for sure, but that does sound right. I know in the demo we had multiple ships spawning, so.
I mean, and people still think that they'll be able to go on a mission and have their NPCs spawn into some of their other ships. Is that still something that is possible down the road?
That one, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, I think that goes to a Brian or a Chris or
definitely
somebody else that's above my pay grade.
I don't want to promise anything for design.
Yeah, so my question is a little bit different. I love the living, breathing spaces that get built in MMOs. And 3.0 is going to be coming out, hopefully, like a freight train and landing on time, But, we know things can happen.
Promise that, but...
Yeah, I know. I'm not asking you to promise.
But isn't it working really well sharing the same information we get? For years, I would get these same production reports, and my job would be to go and tell people, "Oh, we're expecting to have this thing in 5 weeks."
And
now
you'd read the report
the
and go,
information.
and you'd read the report and go, "Yeah, 5 years."
So no, I'm not one of those big people with a giant philosophy about information and how it should be available and free, but this is pretty elegant proof that it is good to get more information out there to share what's really going on.
Well, I think it is, and I think it's going to go really well in the future. I also see a lot of boxes getting checked off week after week, so I am confident, and I'm starting to believe again. I also know it has to come out because you can't go into Gamescom and not have it out. I mean, what are you going to talk about if you don't have out what you talked about the previous year?
Yes.
It's kind of tough. It's like, yeah, we got nothing. See ya. But I was interested in something else. So as the director of community engagement, okay, I think that's one piece, and ships, right? And I think you have another title now too, right?
Who even knows anymore?
Yeah, Chris's right hand, the hand of the Chris. I love these living, breathing universes, but I also love them to have like certain events every now and then. Will you have a team sometime after 3.0 comes out where there'll be live events in game?
There will be absolutely be live events in game, but probably. I think we will have professionals rather than my random ideas doing that. But yeah. I mean, I suspect it'll come out of game support and all that.
Professionals? There's professional people that do that?
Yeah, folks are. I mean, gosh, I don't even know how they do it. It's so automated now on like Warcraft, isn't it? It's all back in the Ultima Online days. You
Those
would have
are
scripted.
Yeah, you'd have.
Yeah, it's all scripted these days. Back in like Ultima Online, you would have somebody would go to one of the servers and it would be their job to tell a story. And I always loved that idea. So I'm sure we will have plenty of scripted stuff, and we will continue to build stories and immersive stuff that lets everybody have a try. I would say I'm looking forward more to like personally going out there and trying to create a story for people.
Okay.
Because I love that.
I would hate it to be scripted, because scripted you could just do,
Yeah, it's how it scales, I think. But everybody who played UO has some story about the time they saw Richard Garriott or the time they saw Starlong, and I think we've all forgotten about whatever story they had intrinsic one day or something. But there's that personal touch. I think you need that in there somewhere.
But everybody remembers the day Lord British was killed.
That got a lot of press.
That got press. I mean, the maker of the game was killed in his own game. I love exploits. They're awesome.
It just makes for such a better story. I'm sure everybody was frustrated as hell at the time. But now that's what people remember, and it's what made it so amazing.
Yeah.
I hope it's the same for Star Citizen. I hope that years and years from now, people are telling the story of the lamp and the giant cutlass model and the crab getting out and all that stuff that frustrates the heck out of everybody here because it doesn't work just right and we wish it were done. It makes for such a good story.
I think about it from a different perspective, is that, and actually it's probably the same perspective. I have all those memories too. I remember EverQuest walking through one of the forests and Feriona Vey just appeared, and all of a sudden the whole server was there watching her walk through and listening to her story. Those are great. So I'm hoping that all those things that you're talking about do get remembered. The live streams and the fact that you've brought us along on this journey, unlike some games that just get thrown out at us, right? Nobody knows how long the latest Call of Duty has been in development. right? It's just thrown at you every other year for you to go and spend your money on and play the same thing over again, right? So you actually let us watch the development.
Yeah, it's what makes Star Citizen special. Because, I mean, anybody with a sufficient amount of money and this particular dream, and no publisher could do this, but it's special because of the community and what you get to experience with us. And I don't know. It's been a long day. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. I saw the brochure.
It's a good one, yeah.
It's a good one. I still like my 890 Jump one, and I still like my Polaris one. Those were awesome. Any way this might be in print someday, or should we just go print it ourselves?
Well, I can't legally tell you to print it yourself, but I don't think. We always talk about printing old brochures, and I'm sure we will someday do like a book of them or a box set or something, but not at this time.
Yeah, this one was nice. I love the pictures of it. It's going to be a really pretty ship.
I wanted to do this classified dossier forever. I actually pitched this to, even before I was on Star Citizen, I pitched this to GOG when they were trying to figure out how to sell the less exciting Wing Commander games. I was like, let's do a classified dossier that tells the story, and never happened, but it's been in my head since then.
The only Wing Commander game I probably didn't, I wound up getting it from GOG, but I didn't really play at all after I got it, was Wing Commander Academy.
Yeah, it's just a mission builder, but...
Yeah, it's just like playing Arena Commander.
Mm-hmm. It has a gauntlet. The gauntlet is fun. It's a challenge.
Yeah. It was a challenge and a half, just like Pirate Swarm is these days.
Yes, I would say it's harder than Pirate Swarm. I don't know many people who get to the end of the gauntlet.
Yeah, all I want to know is, in Pirate Swarm, how come my Connie doesn't last that long when it's being attacked?
Well, they're better pilots.
Better pilots? I don't think so. I think that they're stacking the deck on that one.
So they
I want whatever shield they have, I want. Yeah, so, I mean, I can't wait to see the game come into its, move into its next phase over the next few months.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, Ben, thanks for coming on today. I'm sorry about all the questions about the one ship in the beginning, but it is a sale day, and
no worries. No, I could talk more about the Eclipse. I've got stories.
You got stories?
A cool ship.
All right, really, but... give us a story. Give us a story about the Eclipse.
You called my bluff. I don't actually. Do you know the story of Jack Northrop and the Flying Wing?
The original Flying Wing, Northrop?
He's the Northrop from Northrop Grumman. In the 1930s, 1940s, he was a super proponent of the idea of a flying wing aircraft. He believed that they had abilities other aircraft would not have. I do not understand aerodynamics or anything like that, but it was the lift to something principle. And in World War II, he sold the Air Force, or the Army Air Force, on the idea of the XB-35. They were pitching, I think, for the what eventually became the B-29.
Right.
Each contractor pitches some aircraft. So they did the B-35, which was this huge flying wing bomber. And of course, they picked the B-29 instead. After the war, he again turned it into they were pitching for the B-36, what became the B-36, the one that would be capable of carrying a hydrogen bomb.
Right.
And his pitch was the XB-49, I think, which was just a giant flying wing. And if you ever look at pictures of it, it's so cool.
It lacks stability.
From his view, they were that's what Army Air Force said, or the Air Force at that point said, and they eventually said no, and we have to destroy the prototypes, and we're never going to do a flying wing, and it just destroyed this guy. He left the business. His health fell apart. His dream was dead. And then in 1981, shortly before he died, they got special permission to show the first pictures of the B-2 to him. He lived there on his deathbed a couple months from when he passed away, and he looked at these pictures of his flying wing. It was finally a real thing, and his quote was, "Now I know why God kept me alive to see this day." that has been running through my head all this week as we get this flying wing spacecraft ready.
I like it. I like it. I know that it took the advent of computers and fly-by-wire systems to make that work, but it actually worked good. Of course, in space, we don't have to worry about those aerodynamic flaws that were keeping it from being stable.
Exactly.
Though this does fly in atmosphere. Oh, this thing looks cool.
It has two flight modes.
Yeah, and I expected it to have at least one more pilot. Because this is more like an F-117, but the B-2 has the WSO and signal, whatever you want to call them, the one that watches their signal and gives the flight path, the exact flight path. When you listen to B-2 pilots, they say it's not as easy flying a mission as you think. It's not just point yourself in a direction and go. It's flying that profile that they have to fly sometimes is exhilarating and exhausting at the same time, is what I remember one saying. So different. But I'm pretty happy with it. I was expecting it to be a huge aircraft, but I love the fact that it's a
it's much smaller. Yeah.
Yeah, much smaller. And what is it in the photos? Is that in a Bengal carrier or a top secret base that we don't know about?
That's the top secret hangar that we saw the outside of in that video.
That's the top secret hangar. And range-wise, does this thing have an extended range like a Vanguard might?
So it's longer. It's not as long range as the Retaliator. Retaliator has an edge on range, but it is, it's still it's not a carrier-based aircraft. It has some range to it.
All right. So like I said, more like a Vanguard then, right? Not like a Retaliator. All right, that's good. Mm-hmm. Wow, that's good. I picture a wing of Polarises with 2 squadrons of these being like an ultimate strike force for Operation Pitchfork.
I could see a squadron of these escorted by Sabres. That's that.
Oh, God, yeah.
Very quiet attack.
Yeah. They just have to make the Sabres' nozzles less round so they won't be as radar reflecting. Yeah. But awesome ships. Thanks again, Ben. I really appreciate it. And hopefully we'll get a lot more questions. So when you want to leave your questions, you got 2 ways to do it. You could actually go over to our Discord, which is listed in the comments section below. Just join the Discord, go to the Bensday thread, leave your questions there, or send them to starcitizenaa@gmail.com, and I'll get them and I'll ask them here. If I didn't ask your question today, it's not that they weren't good. It's just that we had quite a number of them, and I will get around to them. All right, Ben, thanks. And with that said, you all be safe out there, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
See you guys later.
Now I'm going to go feel like death in my bed.